You finally get one calm day, and then the next day feels even harder. I'm Em, a dog mom, former vet tech, dog trainer, and canine nutritionist who works with overwhelmed dog parents who love their dogs deeply but feel stuck, burned out, or unsure what their dog actually needs. And today we're talking about your dog's stress cycle and how misunderstanding it often leads to guilt, confusion, and feeling that progress never sticks. In this conversation, you'll discover 3 things that can support you when your dog's behavior feels unpredictable, like why stress often builds quietly before it ever explodes, how good days and hard days are usually connected, and what can change when you start noticing patterns instead of reacting to moments. A lot of dog parents feel like their dog is inconsistent. One day feels manageable, the next day feels chaotic. Then maybe there's a calm stretch again. Then suddenly you're back to barking, pacing, meltdowns, or shutdowns. And it can leave you thinking, what am I doing wrong? Why can't this just stay better? Why does it feel like I'm always starting over? What's often happening underneath all of that isn't randomness. It's stress building up over time. Not big dramatic stress, not always obvious stress, but small things that pile up and up and up. You may have heard this referred to as trigger stacking. Things like a noisy walk, a tense visitor, a day with too much activity, changes in routine, too little rest. Each one on its own might seem manageable, but together they start to take up space inside the dog. And when that internal cup gets too full, the overflow shows up as behavior. Not because your dog is being difficult, not because you failed, but because their system is overwhelmed. What makes this so painful is that many dog parents only notice the final moments, the barking, the pacing, the snapping, the lunging, the shutdown. They don't see the buildup that happened before it. So it feels sudden. It feels unpredictable. It feels like it came out of nowhere. But usually the story started days before. This clicked for me because I see it play out every single day in my own house. With Fitz, the pattern is incredibly clear. If we've had visitors, if the routine shifts, if there's a lot of coming and going, if the day feels unpredictable, the next day is harder. Not because he's being bad, but because he's still carrying the weight of the day before. He gets more sensitive to sounds, more easily startled, more likely to bark at everything. If an ant farts, he's alerting the entire house. And early on, I didn't understand that connection. I would look at the behavior in front of me and try to solve that moment. More engagement, more activity, more let's redirect this. But the truth was, he wasn't understimulated. He was over full. Nothing needed fixing in that moment, just listening. What started to make the biggest difference wasn't doing more. It was consistency, set meal times, predictable play, clear rhythms between when I'm working and when it's our time, a routine that he could rely on. When we keep that structure steady, his nervous system stays steadier too. And then there's Toby. Toby has always been better at knowing when he's done. When things get busy, he opts out. He disappears upstairs. He chooses space. He rests when he needs to, especially now after he was diagnosed with a grade 4 heart murmur. His body is very honest about its limits. Watching both of them side by side made something impossible to ignore. Fitz doesn't always know when he's at his limit. He needs the environment to protect him from too much. Toby does know, and he advocates for himself. But both of them are responding to the same thing, how much their system has been carrying over time. And underneath all of it is the same ask. Please pay attention to what yesterday cost me. Please don't treat today like it exists in a vacuum. Please help me recover, not just cope. Here's the question I want to leave you with. What patterns might become clearer if you looked at your dog's behavior across an entire week instead of one hard moment? If your dog's behavior has ever made you feel like progress is fragile or unpredictable, that experience makes sense. A lot of dogs aren't struggling because their guardians aren't trying. They're struggling because stress has been building quietly without anyone realizing it. A lot of dog parents feel guilt because they blame themselves for every hard day. A lot of people feel confused because advice focuses on fixing behavior instead of understanding what leads up to the behavior. A lot of people feel conflicted because they love their dogs so much, but still feel exhausted by all the ups and downs. What I hope you heard today is that behavior often tells a longer story than we think. And when we start noticing the whole cycle, not just the explosion, we gain clarity. So be kind, spread joy, and remember, progress isn't about perfect days. It's about understanding what your dog has been saying all along. Thank you for listening to The Dog Who Asked for More. If you've ever felt unsure about what your dog is communicating, you are not alone. Most dog parents were never taught how to read dog body language clearly. The signs are often subtle, and when you don't know what you're seeing, it's easy to second guess everything. That's why I created a short re-quiz. It helps you catch the subtle signs you might be missing and better understand your dog's behavior. You'll find the quiz linked in the episode description. Stop getting caught off guard and start understanding what your dog is trying to tell you. New episodes drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'll see you next time.